Okay, just going to do a quick video. We have some interesting developments. So, as some people may or may not know, last week, apparently, according to the Houthis and according to other sources, the USS Eisenhower was attacked in the Red Sea on May 31st, I think it was. So not last week, maybe the week before that. And a lot of people noticed who were tracking it because you can track these things online. There's this whole community of people who track ships and airplanes, and that's their thing, and I don't blame them. So it left the Red Sea suddenly. The USS Eisenhower left the Red Sea very suddenly at a very fast pace and went up the coast. No one knows exactly where it's going, but it was a very sudden thing that happened. Um, the At the same time, the Yemen, the Ansar Allah said that they hit the Eisenhower. Not they hit, that they attacked the Eisenhower. And some people allege that it got hit, but we have no confirmation of that. But it did suddenly leave. And what we're seeing today, what brought me to think about this has been going on for a couple weeks. Here we have Google News, which, as we know, part of the purpose of Google News is to feed us the stories that the deep state wants us to see. And here we have a series of stories that are kind of not so optimistic about how long the carrier group can maintain its presence in the Red Sea. Here we have military.com. A U.S. aircraft carrier and its crew have fought Houthi attacks for months. How long can it last? Well, usually, aren't these things supposed to be able to stay at sea for 6 months at a time or even a year at a time? That's what I thought. U.S. Navy warships are stuck in a Red Sea battle. They can't fight forever. Here goes the Times of Israel. Fighting off Houthis for months, U.S. carrier in Red Sea may be running out of steam. Well, apparently it left the area of operations and it's heading up the coast. Now, people are noting that there are some big shipyards in Jeddah, among other places, where repairs could be done. So some people are saying, oh no, they ran out of ammunition. I'm not sure that's the case. These things should be able to carry a ton of ammunition. I don't see them doing airstrikes day and night. But who knows? But this is going to a much bigger issue, which I want to get into. It's now considered a fact. People are now starting to admit that the United States Navy and its allies have not been able to secure the Red Sea. Just today, a cargo ship that was hit a while ago was actually sunk. Just today it was confirmed sunk. I think it was hit. It was hit a few days ago, and reports are coming in today that this ship, the Tudor, has actually sunk somewhere in this area. Okay, so for all of the power of the U.S. Navy, they have not been able to prevent ships from getting hit and getting sunk. And that is the point of U.S. naval protection in the Red Sea, to deter and prevent attacks on shipping. Okay? And then just at the same time, today, there's a story that came through that I thought goes along with this. So apparently the People's Liberation Army did a computer simulated study on their Fire Dragon missile, and they said that in their computer study it could sink with a 70% rate of accuracy. It could hit a U.S. ship. So here they talk about the exercise, the computer simulation, and yeah, so very interesting. So what is the whole point of what I'm going to say? This is going to be a very short video, but I need to put this on the record. It is apparent to me, given the change in technology, the access to technology, like missile technology, like advanced electronics, GPS, those sorts of things, it is apparent to me, and also importantly, I believe one of these ships, I believe in this story, it says that this ship was sunk by a sea drone. They call it a screwless sea drone. I don't know exactly what screwless means. It doesn't have a screw. Maybe it uses a water jet propulsion or something so that it's less detectable. That would make sense. So that was done by a sea drone. Um, we're seeing a shift in the doctrine of naval warfare. It appears to me that, at least if you're talking anywhere near a coast, the era of carrier supremacy may be coming to an end. And this is going to be a big deal moving forward. In other words, the U.S. Navy is obsolete at this point. How can you compete when a country or even a very poor armed group like Yemen can produce thousands or tens of thousands of drones and a fair amount of missiles and overwhelm any defense that any naval group has? How can you compete with that? So we're seeing a real shift in what is going to be viable for naval warfare going forward. And this is just yet another chink in the armor of U.S. dominance of the world. And now, the United States, among expert military circles, was never considered a land-based military power. It's always been considered a maritime power. And consistently over the past 300 years, whoever has naval supremacy in the world is the most powerful force in the world. That's been the case with the Dutch, Spanish, the British, and now the Americans. But now we're in a situation where anybody can produce weapons that could overwhelm the defenses of these advanced weapons, like aircraft carriers, like these missile cruisers that have hundreds of surface-to-air missiles. I was just reading in this story on the South China Morning Post that the Ticonderoga class surface-to-air missile cruiser has only 200 missiles on it. Now, a country like China, let's say if we did a blockade or something, or trying to do anti-blockade operations, China could send over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of drones, maybe thousands of drones, or even tens of thousands, and then probably hundreds or even thousands of missiles. And there's no way a carrier group can defend against that. So at least when we're talking about naval warfare close to a coastal region within several hundred miles, let's say, carrier operations, fleet carrier doctrine may be over as a superior naval doctrine. Now, in the open sea, I would say that would be a different story. In the open sea, where there's no land around that can be a base for operations for missiles, that would be a different story. But that's where we're at. I think this is actually moving forward going to be more Americans are going to become more cognizant of this. It seems to me like the operation to protect shipping lanes through this region of the world, Gulf of Aden, Red Sea, whatever this strait is called. This strait has a name, I don't know. That operation seems to be a failure. We've had 2 or 3 ships in the last month that have been sunk off of here. And if just one ship gets sunk, it's a failure, because the whole idea is to protect the shipping and lower the risk so that shippers feel comfortable moving their cargo through here. Okay, insurance rates are probably already sky high. Of course, governments are going to subsidize that most likely, but it's not good for business. And of all people, it was the Houthis that did it. Ansar Allah, based out of here in Sana'a, okay, who have a very interesting tradition in there's something called Zayd Islam, which is a very interesting form of Islam. I would encourage anybody to look into. It's all about fighting oppression, as a matter of fact. Very interesting. And it's so interesting that it is Ansar Allah who is really forcing the United States Navy into a strategic defeat. It's really quite amazing, and it doesn't bode well for the future of U.S. dominance over the world. All right, that is it. I am out.